Communication and collaboration is the key to problem solving. Talking to other elected officials, I recognized that Cooper City was not the only contract city that's having difficulty with BSO. And let me be clear, from boots on the ground to my captain, no complaint, only compliments. It's dealing with administration is where I reach a stone wall. I initiated the meeting between the contract cities and concomitantly notified the sheriff of this meeting, as I will not say something behind a person's back that I won't say to their face. The sheriff indicated he would absolutely be here till this morning at 10:24. We received notice that he will not be in attendance. How very disappointing. I acknowledge that each of our cities may have different concerns, or some that are very common. The sheriff needs to hear these concerns directly from us and not through hearsay, because that's like playing telephone. Once he's made aware of all our concerns, and the beautiful part about today is that not only is it on Zoom, television, but it's also being recorded. So there's no excuse that if anyone wants to watch it, they certainly can. We, and I can't take credit, I've got commissioners who are very involved. I think I'm one of the more active commissions who get involved. And I'll ask my commission, because they have come up with some various documents and information. It's very troubling. And it's troubling because we know where the money is, and we know what we paid the sheriff. And when we paid the sheriff, we were all told, and this is clearly to be understood, that it's revenue neutral. So if it costs $150,000 per police officer, that's what we're spending.
I just have one question, not to interrupt, but can somebody define what revenue neutral means? Somebody other than you? Maybe Mayor Gelman?
No.
That's a good answer.
As explained, revenue neutral. If it costs him $150,000, then it costs us $150,000. The county or the sheriff's office is unable and can't and is not allowed to make money off the cities. Unfortunately, we have the information showing that the sheriff actually did charge the cities way too much. For all, I think it's 13 contract cities, just shy of $800,000. Excuse me, 8 million. 8 million, yes, one decimal point. What's a zero among friends? $8 million. Now think about that. Whether you were to get 10% of that, that's still a large chunk of your budget. But instead, the sheriff chose to return it to the county. And with all due respect, the county did not return it to the cities. So we are here, not accusatory, but investigatory. We are asking what is going on with the payments that we are making, with the services we are paying for. All we want is accountability, verification, and sustainability, because candidly for Cooper City, at the rate, and we're just about 25 million. If we do a 5%, that's just over $1 million increase a year.
I do need to correct one thing that the mayor said when he said that the money went back to Broward County. From the money that went back to Broward County, most or all of that immediately went back to BSO. It's not like the county kept the $8 million, almost all of that, all or most, I don't recall which, went back to BSO. But in the meeting that Mr. Horowitz and I had with the general counsel, I did hear the general counsel tell me that it was impossible to true up the numbers because it was just too complicated. So that they, despite the contractual obligation to true up, they just don't because it's complicated. And one of the other issues, which in their defense is complicated, you know, as a county commissioner representing Cooper City. Two of my colleagues were consistently attacking the sweetheart deal, and you note the air quotes, that Cooper City was getting, which I simply did not think was accurate, but you all need to understand that there are some cities, particularly Parkland, the one that actually you have your own, you work with Coral Springs, but Fire Pub, the Weston and Cooper City, when you're looking at the numbers, because Weston and Cooper City are seen as more desirable cities, and particularly in fire, although in some circumstances, police, although to lesser circumstances, they do get, based on seniority, but some choice as to where they're going to go. Cooper City and Weston both end up with a disproportionately high number of most senior deputies and firefighters, which results in an artificially inflated number for those two cities.
In due deference to what Mayor Geller said, that the fire people are older, et cetera, we came up with the idea, I tell you what, we'll meet in the middle. We'll be a training center. We'll get the young rookies. We'll train them. It makes our firefighters that much better, and it gives the training that they so desperately need.
I want to remind everybody that the county sheriff is an independently elected county official that does not answer to the county commission. And let me discuss his budget, because I think that there's a fundamental lack of understanding here. We negotiate something with the sheriff. We don't set their budget because, well, there's two reasons for that. Number one, we can pass a budget and it can say in there, you must spend $1 million on floral bouquets, and the sheriff says, great, I've decided to spend it on M16s. And according to the Florida Supreme Court, they have the complete right to do that. Once we set a budget, the sheriff can move, and not just Broward, but any county sheriff can move the funds around within his budget as he or she sees fit. If we don't reach an agreement on the number, the sheriff has the right to go directly to the governor and cabinet and ask them to increase the amount. I would like to remind everybody that Broward County has 9 county commissioners, all of whom are Democrats. The state is solidly Republican. The Governor DeSantis, obviously Republican. 3 of the 4 cabinet members are Republicans. The legislature is Republican. And if a local sheriff goes up to Tallahassee and says, those stingy county commissioners will not authorize a large enough amount, we want you to increase it by 20%. We have no doubt, and the sheriff knows, remember the sheriff was appointed by a Republican governor. We have absolutely no doubt that they will go along and say, all right, we are granting you a 20% increase. But it comes out of county funds, not out of, the state doesn't pay it. They have the ability to increase it, but the county has to fund it. So I want to make sure that you clearly understand what our relationship is with BSO.